Hi guys, I'm the Real Larry V, and today we are continuing our coverage of clothing optional armies in the first one-third of the Orc War clans, the Bonesplitterz, aka the Savage Orcs. Before I fully get into the nitty-gritty of the Savage Boys, let's first talk about the normal run-of-the-mill Orc. These guys are everywhere in the mortal realms, excluding the tabletop. And these guys are a little bit of a pest, but compared to a lot of the other stuff, such as the multiple flavors of demons and the soul-stealing fish elves, they're not that bad anymore. When the orcs get in a good proper fight, they get filled with a powerful energy beat called the Wah! Sorry, I would have made that more loud and cockney sounding, but I have neighbors upstairs that I do not want to wake up. This gives them a power boost and makes them go a little bit crazy. Then after the fight, they calm down and go back to just being a normal pest. Some orcs, however, stay in this state of mind permanently. These orcs usually end up pissing off all their friends and get kicked out of the tribe, or they just peace off on their own. After this, they start to group up with other orcs in a similar state of mind, and then bam, you got a Savage Orc army. The Savage Boys differ from normal orcs and their bigger brothers, the Ironjaws and Cruel Boys, by going the Fire Slayer route and ditching clothing for a loincloth. Why, I do not know. Orcs lack a wiener due to the fact that they are mushroom people, and if you own the models like me, a lot of their asses are just fully exposed. And if GW were not getting rid of this army, I would be outside their headquarters demanding Kendall orcs be made into a model line. They paint their bodies with magical paints, which through the power of the Whoa does give them some protection. And they've given up their metal weapons for ones made out of sticks, stones, and bones. They also seem to have an overwhelming supply of hair swigs, and this is actually the real reason why I think the orcs fucking hate them, and not because they're a little bit more crazier than other orcs. Hair is important. And the Ironjaws and Cruel Boys are most definitely lacking in it. Once an army or rook has formed, they're usually led by a shaman, whom the gods Gork and Mork, or Gorka Morka, directly talk to, or the biggest and baddest boy known as the boss. Once a rook has formed, they then go hunting for just about anything they can find. This could be for just people living their normal lives, armies that they come across, random wild animals, but their favorite thing is big monsters. When they kill a giant monster, they tend to strip it, eat it, and then devour the marrow and the bones, and they believe this gives them the power of said monster that they just killed. And these hunts by the savage orcs can often leave parts of the mortal realms completely desolated and lacking in life for several years after the fact. This puts the Savage Boys on a similar par to house cats in the real world for just wanton destruction of local fauna. Once in a while, a bunch of rucks will band together and form a big ruck. They're not crazy imaginative, they're just crazy. Big rucks are led by a Wargog prophet, the biggest and baddest shamans that have the power to explode heads just by staring at things, and they are also pretty good dancers as well. The prophets then guide their big rucks to find very hard-to-kill monsters so they can kill, eat, and take their power, or, because they're orcs and like a good fight, go find an army to beat up. The Bonegryns are the biggest group of savage orcs in the Mortal Realms. They are also a little bit smarter, a little bit more clever than the other groups, but they are not winning any first-grade smelling bees, sadly. They are known to use vast amounts of arrow boys to help take down big monsters instead of directly fighting it and dying. And they will also pick up the Realm Stone laying about everywhere and use that in their weapons to give them a little bit of a boost. The Drackfoot are a clan that specializes in fighting ghosts and demons. This all started after the first time that they fought demon armies and the Night Haunt. Both these armies do not drop any bones. Once they die, they just disappear. The Drackfoots took this as a personal insult and have now dedicated their entire existence to messing with demon and ghost armies, which are normally a huge problem for everyone else in the mortal realms. The Icebones are the last subfaction. They love going fast and they love their boar mounts. Their big rucks often employ vast quantities of Savage Boar Boys and Savage Boar Boy Maniacs to overwhelm the enemy as quickly as possible. They also love the cold and snow and have figured out how to turn ice they find into unbreakable weapons. And on a personal note, this is the formation that I used when I ran them. I would usually run 30 Boar Boys, a couple Prophets if I could fit that in, and Kragnos. Good times. Army overview. This is a really simple army to play and use, and is perfect for someone who's hit their head as much as me. You run vast hordes of 2-wound light infantry and tons of very fast 3-wound piggies. You start by bum rushing all your cavalry and infantry up the board in the first 2 turns, hopefully getting into combat with everything, and then you move your Wargog prophets up to get within 12 inches of their special Care Bear Stare ability, and you can let your opponent witness the best war scroll in 3rd edition. Either your opponent grinds you down and your profits blow themselves up, or you overwhelm and overrun the enemy, and that's all there is to the army. Everything in the army has a 6-up ward save, and either you have a 6-up normal save or a 5-up normal save, depending if your unit has a shield or not. Your Wah ability also gives a slight bonus to your ward save once per game. The War God Prophet was the best war scroll in 3rd edition. If you got within 12 inches of your opponent, you could do the Care Bear Stare. You would start off by giving D3 mortal wounds to the enemy unit that you're staring at. Then you would roll a dice. On a 3+, you would give the enemy unit another D3 mortal wounds, but on a 1 or 2, you would take D6 mortal wounds. Your War God Prophet has a ward save, and you would roll to save any of these mortal wounds that you just took, and then you can continue the process until either you die or your opponent dies. This was such a fun ability to use, and like both sides of the table would be like on the edge of their seats, cheering, hollering, all that stuff. Like great times at tournaments. You could also stop at any given time, but if you do such a thing, I would accuse your parents of raising a pansy. The War God Prophet is also a 2-cast wizard, but no one used him for that. It was all about the Care Bear Stare, so just ignore that stuff. The Savage Big Boss is your best melee hero in the game. He hits really hard, but then he also dies really quickly, so you have to watch out for that. But he is also super cheap, so you can take multiple of these guys and not have to worry. The War Doc is a cheap support character and caster. He can heal stuff and buff other wizards. The War Doc can also cast and dispel 1 spell per turn. The Maniac Weirdnob is a boar-mounted wizard. It can cast and dispel 1 thing per turn, and he is crucial to keeping up with your boar boys. Savage Orcs are your base infantry. They come in groups of 20, and they die rather quickly, but they also pack quite a punch. Savage Bork Arrow Boys are the same as the infantry, come in groups of 20. They can spam shooting attacks, and they're also pretty good at melee, but at the same time, they die really quickly. Savage Orc Moor Boys are the same as the last 2 infantries, come in groups of 20. They pack even more of a punch, but they also die even quicker. Savage Orc Boar Boys are a very fast cavalry unit that can easily pull off a turn 1 charge if you get them in the right position. They hit pretty hard on the charge, and they're also the most survivable unit in your army, with 10 of them having 30 wounds with a 5-up save and a 6-up ward save. Savage Boarboy Maniacs are the same as the Savage Boar Boys, just they pack more of a punch, they're easier to kill, and you really need to get the charge off for them to get their full effect as a unit. Savage Big Stabbas. These are a couple orcs that have decided to get a tree, sharpen it, and run directly into the enemy with it. They get bonuses for killing monsters, and let's say it again, they're really easy to kill. The end of the army. Sadly, this glorious display of weaponized stupidity will soon be taken from us and given to those in the old world. That's also me. The canonical reason for them going away is the Skaven Tide has turned the voices of Gork and Mork in their head into bells ringing consistently. This has driven them even more crazy than before, where a lot of them are starting to venture to the edges of the mortal realms to find a cure, or they start fighting each other and killing each other off. So in the future, if you notice a distinct lack of big green nude men, blame Ratboy, it's all his fault. That's just about it for the video. First, I would like to thank all the new subscribers and viewers that I've gotten in the last week, and if you could please like and subscribe, that would be great. I'm the Real Gary V, and have a wonderful day.